Today is Anti-Hunger Advocacy Day here at the State Capitol, where we brought in a number of folks. We've got upwards of 100 people from around the state, food bank advocates, food bank staffers, folks working in their communities with partner organizations, if that's churches or community centers, folks that are dedicated to fighting hunger across the state. So this is our opportunity to come together, kind of celebrate that work, reconnect with the state legislature, talk about the work that's taking place, kind of elevate hunger and food insecurity as a significant issue that a lot of people are dealing with across the state.
Just in the past couple of days, we had a family with young children, and we were fortunate to have some fresh produce. We had apples and oranges that we were sharing along with the dry goods that were in the food boxes. And the children were so hungry, they immediately started eating the oranges right after they got them at our warehouse. I mean, they didn't wait till they got in the car or got home. I mean, they were that hungry.
Just how serious is the problem of hunger in your area in Northeast Louisiana?
Oh, it's very serious. And when you have people who are only making minimum wages, mothers who are making minimum wages, and they have 2 and 3 children.
In Terrebonne Parish, in the last we've set records the last 6 years with the number of people we serve. This year we'll cross over 10,000.
Oh, it's very serious. We have so many homeless in our area, kids who go hungry, and it's a much needed program that we need in the parish.
One of our agencies just recently got a call from a friend that was not living in Lafayette, but a friend of a friend there. And we asked the agency if they could check on that lady because he said she had no food. When they got over there, they had to go through bushes to get to her house. She needed medication. She didn't have any food. It was a super serious situation.
We need more help for the elderly, especially with their medication, because they are all on fixed incomes.
We are the second highest state for food insecurity in the nation. 1 in 4 families at some point in this year will have food insecurity. And so what we're talking about today, what can we do to help bridge that gap? And that is the gap, that goes beyond SNAP and beyond, the feeding programs in the schools. How do we work with our different food pantries to make sure that they have enough balanced, nutritious products so that those families that are in a lurch, right, short-term problems, whether it is from losing a job or having bills they can't pay or whatever the issue is, where there's enough food there so that they can have, a decent meal and feed their families.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Corey Patty, and I serve as the Executive Director of Feeding Louisiana, our state association representing the 5 Feeding America food banks as a unified voice in seeking solutions to hunger. Regionally located, Louisiana food banks and their network of more than 900 partner agencies and programs serve all 64 parishes in the fight against hunger. I want to thank you for joining us here today as we elevate the issues of hunger and food insecurity across our state, a devastating plight that unfortunately touches so many of our children, families, and seniors. During our time here, we'll hear from some champions in the fight against hunger, and I want to thank them for taking the time to be here. Rosie Brown, Executive Director of the East Carroll Community Action Agency, Dr. Alfreda Bester, Assistant Secretary of the Louisiana Department of Children and Family Services, Dr. Mike Strain, Commissioner of the Louisiana Department of Agriculture, and Natalie J. Rowe, President and CEO of Second Harvest Food Bank, headquartered in New Orleans. The important work of helping our neighbors in the face of food insecurity needs committed leaders, and I want to thank this group for stepping up to that challenge. If there's one thing that we know in Louisiana, it's food. We're celebrated around the world for our recipes, for our history, and for our culture. We know the power of food, how it can bring communities together, its healing powers when we fall on hard times. In many ways, it defines us. It is at the very center of what we do and who we are. What we also know is that too many people across Louisiana do not have enough food. More than 773,000 Louisianans are food insecure, uncertain of where their next meal might come from. That number includes more than 255,000 of our children, with almost 1 in 4 Louisiana children growing up hungry. It includes 16.5% of Louisiana's senior citizens, the highest rate of senior food insecurity in the country. We know that this has severe adverse impacts that ripple across our society. We know that hungry children do more poorly in school and have lower academic achievement because they are not well prepared and cannot concentrate. We know that that child grown up will not be as well prepared physically, mentally, or emotionally to perform effectively in today's workforce. We know that the health effects associated with food insecurity include diabetes, heart disease, and depression, chronic conditions that are both difficult and expensive to manage. Truly, food at the center of everything. But we know how to turn this around. Feeding Louisiana's 5-member food banks and their network of community and faith-based partners across the state work together to distribute more than 64 million meals annually to individuals and families in need. SNAP, our country's strongest tool in the fight against hunger, helps to make ends meet for hundreds of thousands of low-income Louisianans. There are countless examples of innovative programs and partnerships across the state that connect hungry people to the food they need. Strengthening this safety net and pushing back on the stigma and myths surrounding food insecurity are vital steps to improving the condition of hungry Louisianans. Recognizing this critical need, Feeding Louisiana has a budgetary request to the state legislature for $1 million that would go towards purchasing food from Louisiana's farmers to distribute to people in need, providing both local, nutritious foods to food bank patrons and support to Louisiana's farmers and growers. The state's investment could represent up to an additional 3 to 4 million meals provided through the food bank network and make a difference in the lives of hungry citizens across the state. With that, I'd like to bring up Dr. Alfreda Bester.
I bring you greetings on behalf of the Honorable Governor John Bel Edwards and on behalf of Marquita Garner-Walters, who serves as our Secretary at the Department of Children and Family Services. I want to thank Corey and all of the people associated with Feeding Louisiana for inviting me here today. It is my honor to have been asked to speak before you because as I see your work, I see it as one of the most important works in Louisiana and indeed in our nation. A healthy population is critical to our overall health and our overall safety and to the future of our children. And it is critical to our economic well-being. No person who is hungry can be considered healthy or safe, nor can they be focused on their future. So thank you for your vision, Feeding Louisiana, and for the critical role that you play in our state mission to be a unified voice of Louisiana's hungry by providing short-term food relief while seeking long-term solutions to hunger through advocacy, education, and leadership. The mission of the Louisiana Department of Children and Family Services is working to keep children safe, helping individuals and families become self-sufficient, and providing a safe refuge during disasters. I am proud to work with a governor who takes this mission seriously and who works every day to assure that Louisiana has an opportunity to move our people out of poverty into jobs that pay a living wage, and for women in these families to receive equal pay for their equal work. I see the parallels and a shared agenda between the missions of the Department of Children and Family Services and Feeding Louisiana. You and the Department of Children and Family Services take care of the most vulnerable and food insecure people among our citizens. It is my role as the Assistant Secretary of Family Support within the Department of Children and Family Services, and I have executive oversight over the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, or as it's commonly referred to as food stamps. Eligible households can receive food assistance through our SNAP program or through the Louisiana Combined Assistance Program called LACAP. As most of you know, the amount of SNAP benefits that a household receives depends on the number of people in the household and the net income. But what you may not know is that the SNAP program's name, which leads with the word supplemental, it leads with the word supplemental because we know that the amount of allowable benefits that we pay to households each month is not enough to meet the need. We know that. So I want to say thank you to Feeding Louisiana and to all of the food banks, community and faith-based organizations, and advocates who are represented here today. What you do is often the difference between a family going hungry, a child having an opportunity to not go to bed hungry on any night in the richest country in the world. It's not enough that we provide SNAP benefits, which we know are not sufficient to meet the need. Can you even imagine a child being prepared for high-stakes testing when they went to bed hungry the night before, and when they are concerned that when they get home in the evening, there may not be food for them to have a meal? Again, I thank you for the opportunity to speak here today, and I thank you for your advocacy because it is absolutely essential to taking care of vulnerable families. Thank you so very much.
Hi, I am Representative Melinda White, and we debated issues on SNAP in the House before when I first got here, and it really stunned me. I stood up and I spoke about it because I experienced it. I never thought in my lifetime I would ever experience that, but I was a young mother in a bad situation with 2 children, and immediately my circumstances changed. I never would have thought that I would have had to go and apply for food stamps, coming from a family that's always provided, and it was quite an experience for me. I was not on it very long, but I did what I had to do to take care of my children. No one can say we're all one step away from a catastrophe that puts us in a position of hunger. And I repeat that. At any time in this state with volatile weather that we have and the things that happen, you can be one step away from needing that safety net. I am, for one, thankful that I had that safety net. It was not something that I wanted to take advantage for a long term. It was just something that I had to have at that moment to feed my children. And so I would ask that, we always consider that not everybody is in the same circumstance at all times, and not everyone always understands that until it happens to them. But I'm a strong proponent for this, to always have that safety net there for young families, for anyone that is in that need. We don't want anyone to go hungry. And if there's any time that we would see the most upset people in the world that would do whatever they have to do to feed their children, is if you take that away from them. They will do whatever they have to do to feed their children, and we can't take that away. So I thank everyone here that's advocating for this today. The food banks are necessary in my community and all across, to even help with this issue, and I'm thankful that y'all are putting this on today and making everyone aware of that. Thank you so much.
783,400 people, 258,000 of which are children, struggle with hunger, the food gap. And again, it's a failure of the market economy to serve the basic human needs to those that are impoverished. Food insecurity refers to the number of people who regularly run out of food or go at least one day without eating, or who do not know where their next meal will come from. Nationally, it's 1 in 6 Americans. In many households, there's evidence that parents go hungry so their children can eat. Another startling statistic is food insecurity is concentrated in the southern United States. with most southern states of food insecurity above the national average. Louisiana, the second highest in the nation, with 1 in 4 families struggling to put food on the table. New Orleans and Baton Rouge landing in the top 10 metropolitan statistical areas struggling with food insecurity. Food insecurity is on the rise here, increasing by 5.6 percentage points since '07, despite the rest of the country only seeing 0.7%. The highest rates of food security are in the northeast part of the state. 1 in 3 residents, I'm going to repeat that, 1 in 3 residents in East Carroll Parish, 34.4%, 28.4% in Madison, and 26% in Tensas. 11 parishes have rates of food insecurity between 20 and 24%. When you look at our responsibility, we need to find a way to reduce this. USDA reveals that 58% of individuals at risk of hunger earn more than the federal poverty level, and 61% of poor households are food insecure. So that means they may not be eligible for SNAP and other programs, and that's why it's so important for our food banks to help in those times when they are short. Food banks are designed for short-term assistance. However, they are now being relied on by people facing long-term food shortages. 2 problems have emerged. Many food banks are simply not able to have enough food to meet the needs of this population and have the diversity of food needed for the adequate nutrition. As the number of food bank clients have increased, donations have not increased to meet this new demand. Feeding Louisiana is requesting $1 million in appropriations to assist in feeding the hungry. In a previous session, we have allocated as much as $5 million for this effort, and it made a huge difference for families in crisis. It is absolutely incredulous that in a state like Louisiana, which celebrates rich and varied food traditions that are famous for worldwide, and we produce so much food that is exported throughout the world, there are so many people here without enough to eat. Thank you.
I want to tell you about a small town in Louisiana, northeast Louisiana, which could be any town in any state. A question was asked to a man named Cain. "Where is Abel, your brother?" His answer, "I know not. Am I my brother's keeper?" Yes, we are our brother's keeper. That is why we are here today, fighting to make certain that everyone in Louisiana knows that they and their family will be fed today, tomorrow, and tomorrow, that no one will go hungry. My name is Rosie Brown. I live in Lake Providence, East Carroll Parish, border the Mississippi and the Arkansas. 74% of the parish is agricultural crop. I graduated from Lake Providence High School, and I graduated from Northeast Louisiana University in Monroe. I returned home and began to work at the East Carroll Community Action Agency, where I have worked there over 30 years. In 1993, Time magazine referred to East Carroll Parish as the poorest place in America. The population there has been steadily declining for over 50 years. 2010 census said that there were 7,759 persons. In 2018, it is estimated that the population is 7,037 people. Major employees in the parish, the Sheriff's Department, which operates the detention center, the school system, the hospital, 3 medical family facilities, a nursing home, 1 supermarket, the school system, the hospital. There are 5 eateries, 3 dry goods stores, the Lake Providence Port Commission, and 2 banks. Many persons who are working at minimum wage jobs, or maybe a quarter or 2 above. Many persons have no health care benefits, no retirement benefits, and some have no leave benefits. Unemployment rate is 6.6%, one of the highest in the state of Louisiana. There are people who are seasonal workers. They receive no unemployment benefits. They are working in the potato fields and, yes, still in the cotton fields. Public school has about 900 children in the system. 14.4%, or about 1,013 persons, are elderly and handicapped. Children, there are about 514 under the age of 5. The average monthly benefit for persons on Social Security and disability is about $800 a month. SNAP benefits for these persons range from $25 below. 44% of East Caras Parish population lives in poverty. 202,217 people are in the labor force. There is no public transportation. The median income is $20,795. There are companies who have come into our town and they got tax credits and benefits, startup monies. When the money was gone, they left. There is a study that shows that East Cal Parish has the highest rate of income inequality that exists in the world. But we who live in East Cal Parish do not live as people with no hope. Our struggles are real. Families and individuals who are food insecure struggle is real. But we fight with our brothers and sisters. And we want you and you and you to fight with us also. We will continue to be in the ears of those persons who are making the decisions and the laws and the rules and the regulations, and be the voice of our brother, because we are our brother's keeper. We are fighting to make certain that everyone in Louisiana knows that their family will be fed today, tomorrow, and tomorrow, and that no one in Louisiana will go hungry. Thank you.
I am Natalie Jaro. I'm the president and CEO of Second Harvest Food Bank, and we stretch along the southern part of the state, 23 parishes. But today I'm here because I am part of Feeding Louisiana, and I'm part of Feeding Louisiana. Commissioner Strain is part of Feeding Louisiana. Our representatives and senators who have spoken are part of Feeding Louisiana. Members of the media, you're part of Feeding Louisiana if you believe in our cause. And the people behind us, who collectively reach about 400,000 people every year, but as you heard, we need to do twice that much. They are Feeding Louisiana. So let's say that all together. Who are we?
Feeding Louisiana! Feeding Louisiana!
Thank you.
Let's go, Miss Natalie.
Thank you, Charles. These people behind me, and actually the people in front of me, are my heroes. They're the ones that get this done. I came to Louisiana just after Hurricanes Katrina and Rita decimated our state. And while those of us in the South may have had the physical damage, the northern part of the state spent their time taking care of the people that evacuated. You remember, we did all that together. I immediately fell in love. As wounded as Louisiana was then, I fell in love with the state, and I'm so proud to call myself a Louisianan, and I'm so proud of being part of Feeding Louisiana. We came here just like we are today, and we talked to our legislators about the need to feed Louisianans. And as Commissioner Strain told us, they stepped up magnificently. We were here for 6 weeks. People were telling us, you can't get anything done in Baton Rouge in 6 weeks. You need to know people who know people. But you know what? I didn't know anyone. I was brand new to the state. The people behind me knew lots of people. I had so many legislators call me up and say, I have to vote for you because I can't go to church on Sunday if I don't. The people behind here represent that spirit of love and compassion that I love so much about this state. So I'm confident we can get this done. We're coming to the state again. We need $1 million. that $1 million will be spent right here in Louisiana. So we will support Louisiana farmers, fishermen, manufacturers. Commissioner Strain was a little too modest. He's more than just a little bit of help. He administers a program that is responsible for 25% of the food that we distribute. It's such a wonderful program, and it was started many years ago to help farmers across this country. So thank you, Commissioner Strain, for being such a partner. We are going to be successful because in our state, we know how important food is. As Commissioner Strain said again, we know that it nurtures so much more than just our body. And we know how we love, we know how we're our brother's keeper in this state. We've stepped up every time there's been a disaster, whether it's oil spills or hurricanes or downturns, or oil and gas workers being laid off. We're here to help. But hunger is a disaster every single day for every child that is going to school and not able to learn. And every senior that's making terrible choices between their food and their medicine, and we know that that's a problem that's only going to increase as so many baby boomers start to retire from the system. This group of people behind me and most of you in front of me, we're going to fight all of that. We are going to serve people. We are going to try to meet every need we possibly can, and we need your help. And I know we'll get it because this is a magnificent state, and I love Louisiana. So when you all go and talk to your legislators, tell them your story. It's the best thing we have, right? Tell them what you experience on a daily basis, the people you serve, and remember to tell them the great stories as well, that people are so appreciative, what difference you've made in their lives, how you've helped them rebuild their lives when they've been through a natural disaster, or carried them over while they look for that next job that's going to be available to them, or giving our seniors the comfort they deserve after having spent a lifetime working for us and making things happen for us. So, good luck, everyone. Thank you for your support. I know you can make it happen because together we are Feeding Louisiana. Thank you.
Feeding Louisiana has a budgetary request to the state legislature for $1 million that would go towards providing nutritious Louisiana-grown items that can be distributed through our food bank network. So that would be the state's investment. Food banks leverage those dollars to purchase those items from Louisiana farmers and growers and vendors, and then distribute that to the communities in need.
We're asking for fuller funding for the Department of Children and Family Services. We ask the state of Louisiana takes care of all of its residents and makes sure that nobody has to make the impossible decision between whether to feed their families, keep the lights on, pay the car note, or pay for the medicines that keep them healthy.
People should keep in mind that hunger and food insecurity aren't issues that go away. They're long-standing in the state and across the community, and it's going to take the work of our organizations, food banks, but then volunteers and businesses, policymakers like here at the legislature and across local governments to really make a dent in the issue.
How can people get more information?
People can look at our website, www.feedinglouisiana.org, and that could direct them to all of our 5 member food banks located across the state too.